From that stoop down to Lennox, my mama argued with me for like 200 minutes, drinking brews till I'm finished. To the news, them interviews, they knew my position. I could lie for free, but that truth is expensive. So visit my site, yo, get an insight. What my living was like was bigger than life. Different women spending the night, no children in sight. I got fed up, but kept my head up like I'm willing to bite. My life doing bike tricks, touchdowns for Mike Vick. Stop on a dime and split right soon as your eye twitch. I was quite quick, not many was like this. Waxing them like a candle, I guess I was quite lit. I heard they mad, I deserve to brag. I'm in my bottom line Birkin bag, and I ain't trying to waste a whole lot of time with this rhyme. But after this, we getting straight to the bottom line.
All right, welcome back. I'm Bottom Line Burke, and we got two of the greatest running backs to ever play high school football. They come from the football factory, Brockton High School, City of Champions. My gentleman to my far left, Anthony Comer. He was rated the #2 running back in the country. At the time, Brockton High was the #1 team in the entire country. And he's a dog, as Deion Sanders like to say. He's a dog, dog. And next to my left right here, we got Peter Harris, who also was top 5 in the country, #1 in the state. And I had a chance to see him up close and personal on a daily basis in practice. Just dominate, just completely dominate. He was somebody that inspired me. He actually, is one of the people who is the reason why I even decided to go ahead and play football instead of basketball. But without further ado, I want to pass this over and get started in this beautiful conversation with these two giants right here. And let's start with you, big man. Anthony Coleman, tell the guys a little bit about who you are, where you come from, where you play, who you play with.
Originally from South Philly. Okay. Moved to Brockton when I was 9. Started playing in the midgets on the west side, moved to the north side, and was there ever since. Ended up going to Brockton High. From Brockton High, had a tragedy after I graduated, gave up my scholarship, didn't want to play football anymore. Through certain circumstances, found my way to junior college in New York. From there, transferred into BC, and the rest is history.
So I know you possess one of the rare breeds of, like, you had great size, but you had great speed. Talk about what did you do to develop that? What was some of the workouts, or just some of the things you just did on a daily basis?
I wasn't blessed like some of the other kids that came out the womb fast. I had to train. I mean, I ran track. Actually, when I got to Brockton High, I wanted to play basketball. I didn't want to play football. I mean, I wanted to play football, but basketball was my thing. And Colombo went right to Ortiz and said, if this guy gets on the court, he goes, I'm kicking him out of school. What? Harry Allen happened to be standing right there, and Harry Allen said, you're coming with me. I was like, all right. So I had a pair of Bobos on my feet with the track practice. But that was honestly the best thing I ever did, because as a freshman, I was a 4.9, 940.
Where?
At Brockton High.
4.940, okay.
When I graduated and onto the Shriners, I ran 4.31. And then I ran 4.29 my freshman year in college.
4.29? Damn, 4.29? Woo, baby.
At 210.
At 210? Yeah, that's a good weight. Great speed. The fast I got that down to 4.38.
People don't understand how fast.
I was at 4.3. I was at 4.38.
I tell guys all the time, 4.5 is extremely fast if you can produce that 4.5 onto the football field. And guys don't understand that. And over the years of me, running track and, still trying to be big and still wanting to run, I tell guys, listen, if your football mentality is where it is, you could be a 4.6 guy and be the best guy on the football field.
Jerry Rice.
Exactly.
I know you guys, this is crazy how we got two of the greatest Brockton High running backs in the same room, sitting next to each other. Can you guys just take a moment just to talk about, maybe there was a play or a game that you witnessed each other play, and also talk about what do you respect and admire about each other's game?
I'll start that. This was easy. I had a chance to come back and watch you guys play at Brockton High when I was at BC against, it was Severian at home.
All right, so it's a home game against Severity.
It was a
back
home
in
game.
95, 96, 97,
whatever it was.
All right, so I only bring that up because I want the audience to know how many people were in attendance back then.
Well, it was crazy because, when we played in the late 80s and early 90s, it was easy to get 10,000 in the stands on a normal game, and don't let somebody come into town. I mean, DeMatha came to town and we had 25,000 people.
DeMatha, Baltimore.
From Baltimore, Maryland.
Sports Factory.
Man, they brought them big old country boys up here, man. I was running into walls every play, man. But I had opportunity because what happened was when I was at school, the first thing was, you got to get home and see the kids that are there. Now, I had the opportunity to coach against you guys in Pop Warner, so I hated the both of you then. So it didn't really make it. Didn't make it.
That's made him say, "Ow, that was West."
I remember Angelo, was it Brandale or something like that? Yeah.
I can't remember the kids' names, but I couldn't stand y'all. But when sitting in the stands, I had this opportunity to sit in the stands and really watch and sit back and go, okay, let me see what's going on. And I remember that day because Donald was on the sideline walking back and forth, and I was like, what's wrong with Donald? And they was like, oh, he was hurt, and now he wants to play, and he was causing a scene. This guy was on the field. Every time I turned around, he was shaking and baking, hitting the sideline, running, and I was like, is he the only back on the team? Like, can I get some carries too? You know what I mean? And it was one of those things where I was like, for me, I was proud of you guys because I was the older guy, had a chance to come back and watch, knowing that there was no fall off. Right. Every year, you figure that, all right, these guys aren't going to be that good this shit. Man, to have y'all coming in the stadiums and sitting there going, damn, I have no idea who this kid is. This guy's a sophomore running for 18,000 yards a game. Colombo didn't allow that, you know what I mean? When we played, I had to share the backfield with Chris Campbell, Adam Williams, Darnell, Rudy, but you had monsters that it didn't make a difference who touched the football. Yeah. Somebody was going to get busy.
So your backfield was kind of similar to University of Miami where they had like Quinn Portis,
yes,
Frank Gore, Willie McGahee.
With McGahee, yep. It was so bad that I ended up switching to quarterback.
Wow.
So I was like, something, I got 6'2", 230, and 6'3", 225 in front of me. I'm going to go play quarterback. So that's exactly what I did, man. I said, I'm going to go play quarterback. I had a chance to play special teams. I wanted to get on the field no matter which way. It didn't make it. If I could be the holder for Jimmy Butler to kick an extra point, that's what I wanted to do because I was extremely hungry. And I was also one of those individuals. Colombo, I probably gave him 42 heart attacks. I'm not going to lie, I did. But I was eager and hungry to get on the field. And then when I came back, had an opportunity to watch y'all, it was the same thing. Y'all didn't take no opportunity and say, something, I'm going to squander it. Nah, man, this kid was killing it. When I had guys at school going, yo, can we get him up here? I was like, listen, call him. He could have played. I mean, and I played with some serious backs at BC. Yeah. He would have came in and played I would have moved over so he can play. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Pete, talk about Anthony Coleman. First time you seen something about his game.
It was just like growing up, everybody asked me the question, do you know Rudy, do you know Anthony? Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just the question off the bat. If you're playing football, you're out there being athletic, those two people are going to be asked to you. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I swear to you, when Colombo used to talk about him, and I used to be like, oh, I don't really know him, like this, that, another. You know what I mean? Because like I said, like my upbringing was different. So like I wasn't really watching sports like that. I was playing sports just because I wanted to get out the house. And then I finally got to watch him play, and I was just like, I got to do that. Like I have to be that. You know what I'm saying? Like at minimal, I have to be that. Like he's like, yeah, he's dumb. Like if you watch, if anybody ever watched a football game ever in life, if you watch somebody, you know the dominant dog on the field. Absolutely. Like you know that dog. You know what I'm saying? Like he's nice, but he's like kind of soft. That's the dog right there. You know what I mean? Like you go back to the huddle, you mess up, he's gonna talk to you before the quarterback can come back. And when the quarterback comes back, he has to wait until you're done talking. Now he can just finish the play, and then you can go out there and play. That's the dog. And I saw that in him, and I was like, all right, so, okay, that's what a leader is. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned from afar. I didn't even know him till I got older. Like I didn't meet him till my senior year. He came back and played. They came back and watched us play the whole nine, but I didn't meet him till my senior year. You know what I'm saying? We played New Bedford. I didn't forget. They played New Bedford. He came inside the gate. And baseball, Mo Vaughn was there. Mo Vaughn was there, the New Bedford game. And then Mo Vaughn was sitting there, and he picked me up off the dirt because I got tackled late into the dirt. He picked me off the dirt. I looked at him and just saw a coma and ran to him and gave him that. And everybody came up to me and said, do you know who picked you up off the dirt? And I was like, no. They was like, man, that's, you know what I mean? They told me who it was, and I was like, oh. And I looked, came out, I didn't care. Like, my thing was, he came outside that gate to greet me. And I was trying to be, like, he was someone I was trying to look at, like, I modeled being a leader and, like, a dog after him. So I'm like, he came through this gate to greet me. Like, I'm here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what everybody else says, like, you have to have someone that, like, you respect tell you, yo, like.
That's what I'm going to say. Did that change your mentality or how you felt about the game or your approach going forward? Now that the guy that you looked up to, this thing is real, he's touched you, you're able to speak to him, you have a relationship. It's no different like when I was telling you, you know, the day you told me take the hit on that slant, that changed everything for me. Can you talk about what that moment did for you just as a player and a person?
To me, all it did to me, to be real, it showed me I was on the right path.
Amen.
That's all it did.
Yeah, okay.
Because, like, I did it my way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a vocal leader, but at the same time, I was also one of those that, like, I got to show you what I'm telling you to do.
Right.
Like, if I have to take, like, an angle route, come through and get hit by a linebacker, I can't drop the ball if I just told you take a hit.
Right.
Like, I can't tell somebody to block, and then I'm supposed to go off to the edge and hit the DN so the quarterback can roll around and throw. I can't miss that block. So my mind is like, whatever I'm telling you to do, I have to show you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I'm like, damn, like, is that how people before me did it? Yeah. Is that how leadership is shown?
Because prior to meeting Coma, you're guessing.
You're guessing.
You just have it in your mind, whatever you think it is. But then now, it's like you could be more efficient.
Yeah.
Now you're like, yo, I know for a fact. Now you could just kind of just be like, all right, this is what I need to work on, things like that.
Especially when you know you're a dog. Like, I remember, to be real, I keep thinking about this play. We had a game my senior year, and you missed the ball. And you were still trying to catch it. You get ball, but you're still trying to catch it. And I remember you, like, shaking on top of the defender because you missed the ball, and you was going crazy. And you was like, yo, I missed the ball. And you looked at me, I was like, oh, you get mad now. And you looked at me and was like, and you laughed. And we started laughing, and you, like, that was my way of having you forget about that play. Because you were so mad that the next play you would have definitely dropped the ball. But the fact that I made you laugh and you forgot about it, the next play was a bomb to you on the side and you caught it.
Because back then it was like we was only getting, as a receiver, we was only getting 3-4 touches.
That's what I'm saying.
So my stats was always like 3 catches, 120 yards, 4 catches, 180.
But that was like 3-4 games after I met him.
Oh, wow. So
that put me in the space where I was like, whatever I choose to do, I'm doing the right thing. Because he dapped me. He came, like, most of the time, like, security's kind of thick. You know what I'm saying? You can't get to the Brockton High game, especially big games, because there's so many people. Right. He got through that gate and met me when I came off the dirt. Tapped me on the helmet, talked to me, was like, yo, good run, blah, blah, like, was amping me in my face. And I'm like, yo, I know who he is. And I had no idea who Mo Vaughn was, as like a celebrity Red Sox player. No idea who you are. He got me out the dirt. Yeah, no clue who he is, but I knew who he was. And he picked me. He was there to tell me I did a good job. Now I'm like, okay.
One of the things too, I know that right now in the landscape of football, college football, all of us D1 athletes, we played with a lot of them. you always was compared to him, Rudy Harris. I'm sure you was played with Rudy Harris, who was a dog, went to Clemson, right? Mm-hmm. Then played professionally for a short period of time. Can you guys, and I mean with me, Gregory Merchant, I was always compared to Gregory Merchant, greatest wide receiver, Brockton High School. Can y'all talk about the college recruiting process? Y'all go from little boy dreaming about the opportunity to play college football, but now you are the dog, you the man. Can you talk about, name the colleges that was on your list and just kind of talk about that time of life? What did you think then and now looking back at it?
Me personally, I mean, it was hard, man. It was really hard.
Number 2 in the country. I can't
so
say that.
I got into 81, I got into 81 schools offered.
Wait, time out. 81 scholarships.
Well, I got offered by a lot of schools.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But one of the big things was for me was, that maroon and black was special to me. Okay. And the only other team that was rocking it at that time was South Carolina. South Carolina was one of the only schools that really wasn't recruiting me. Okay. So I was mad because me, Chris, Adam, we're like, man, them uniforms is nice. Yeah. And that's how, honestly, I was thinking about the school. But I had the opportunity, like I said, one of the big, Notre Dame, Miami, Florida State, Alabama, Tennessee and Notre Dame were my top 2 teams when I was coming out of high school. But then my girl passed away right after we graduated. So that's when I was like, something, I'm done with school. I didn't want to go, yada, 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 yada. When I got to Nassau, Long Island, I was like, I was only going to stay a year, then I'll transfer out. Man, I ended up going back for my sophomore year, and honestly, it was the best thing I've ever did, because when I went back, we lived in a house, all the freshmen lived in the same house. We had a landlord that lived with us, Mr. Miller, who was basically our father. All of us in the house didn't have dads, you know what I mean? My dad was a professional athlete fighting all the time, but he didn't realize he had a son too. So, but this man took us under his wing, and when I tell you, when I got there, I couldn't stand the man. For the first 6 months of the life in school, he made my life miserable. I had chores. We couldn't have no girls in the house. We couldn't, cook after a certain time, couldn't use the phone. But I tell you, he was the reason why I went back for a second year. He got me to come back and graduate. He goes, something, just come back and get your papers. He goes, why are you going to leave now? And yada, 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 yada. I said, something? I went back, ran for 2,000 yards, met my I met my kid's mother while I was there. And, the rest is history. But when I was at Nassau, the recruitment process was even crazier. Because now you have a JUCO kid coming out who I had a 3.5 grade point average. So Stanford was my number 1 school. And I got into Stanford, but not BC. I had to take 4 classes before I graduated my first summer school. It's the last summer school session in order to go to BC. I knew I was going to BC. I did, man. I put them through so much hell. Right. I went to Pitt. I went to took 10 trips. Shh, not supposed to know that.
You're supposed to take all your trips.
It's supposed to be 5. It's supposed to be 5. I took 10, and I had a fantastic time, and I learned. I learned from a lot of guys. And I tell you right now, my last trip I took was to Pitt. Now, mind you, Pitt put somebody on me when I got there and almost made me sign. Wow. I signed at Pitt. You don't hear Curtis Martin. That's how funny.
Curtis Martin, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. If I sign at Pitt, Curtis Martin is no-go. Because he ended up getting hurt his junior year, and I was a terror my junior year.
So, Peter, talk a little bit about your recruiting process.
Recruiting was kind of crazy, man. It was crazy. I was ranked pretty high. Was in the blue chip book and all that. So Miami, Florida State, Florida, Indiana, and had Penn State. I had a couple schools, but the reason why I was liking Indiana because I was there and Antoine came the same time.
Antoine Randall, the quarterback?
Antoine Randall, wow. Because he came the same recruiting trip I came. So he was like, listen, 97, 97, 98.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Antoine Randall, he got a Super Bowl chip too. But I was there, and he looked at me and said, "Yo, you come here, man. Let's do it. Let's get it in." And I was just like, I'm still thinking like, yo, let me take all these other trips first. I don't want to say like, yeah, I'm coming here, but like, I'm like, yo. He was like, listen, and then like everybody's in my ear, like, yo, whatever college asks you to go for the first weekend, that first weekend is key. When they ask you to come for that first weekend, they want you. You go like weekend 2 or 3, it's like, like you're nice. We want to make sure, we want to make sure that the big wigs know we tried to get you in here. Like that's all it is. Like they just want to make sure your name is on a list to come to the school and figure it out. But when he said that, I was like, all right. And then it was like Cameron's first year, and he was like, we'll just do the whole offense around you. And I was like, I'm trying to say no, but I'm like, man, come on. And then the trip was fantastic. So it's like, and yeah, man. And it's like you somewhere different. And like in Indiana, had a hotel on campus, so my mom's was like taking care of. They was taking my mom's to like spas and some more stuff, and then like they was just taking me to like all types of like housing and all. You know what I mean? Like I'm running around. It was like, and I'm from Brockton. Like I ain't had no other trips. I don't go nowhere. You feel what I'm saying? Like to see how the rest of the world lives, I was like, oh yeah. Okay, I could live here.
Did they get you in the locker room with your name on the jersey and everything?
Yeah. Then they brought me to the stadium and your name's up there, 34 with like 20-yard run. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Recruiting trips is.
When I went to the BC one, they had Burke jersey, everything. I was like, give me this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was like
your locker looking right with your name on. I was like, I got a locker?
It makes the dream real.
Yeah, it makes it real. Makes it real. They sell it.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Do you remember playing basketball at the what is that? Is it the VFW?
Yeah, like on Sunday
in the back.
Something like that?
Hey, I showed up one Sunday morning. We out there balling. This dude dunked on I forget whose neck it was. So JP, remember Fat JP. Yeah. So we driving back to the house, and he looks at me. He was like, yo, did Jamal just really dunk on him? He goes, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, yeah, I guess it was more important. I said, I missed mine.
It was nice with it too.
I missed mine. I was like, this guy got up there like it was nothing.
Basketball is everything to me, man, because it's like, you know, when I grew up in Boston, because I came from Boston, Roxbury, real rough area, and everybody played ball. Nobody played football.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And so like my uncle.
Because you can always play basketball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
out here, anyway.
My uncles always played. My brother played ball. Actually, my uncle Gary, he was actually so good. Red Arbor, he was recruiting him out of high school. Because my uncle, as a true freshman, he went to Cathedral, won a state championship, transferred to Don Bosco, and Don Bosco was the powerhouse, won the championship again as a sophomore. He was the leading scorer of both. So that's what I thought was the ticket. You know, that's why I fell in love with. Because really, what the ball really was, and I'm sure you guys could share what really sports really means to you too, is like when I was dribbling the ball, it was like I was with my brother. It was like with my cousin. It was like I was with my uncles. And so like I wanted to get nice in the sports where it's undeniable, so I could just tell my uncle or my brother like, yo, come see me. You know, I'm killing, you know what I mean? And so like a lot of time, like I tell people all the time, especially with football, you gotta miss some hugs. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you can't just play just because you like the sport, you love it, or such and such is your favorite player. There gotta be something really driving you underneath in the underbelly that, because if I'm just playing for love, I can't tackle Anthony Comer. I can't rock with Peter Harris. You know what I'm saying? And I know for damn sure ain't no DB covering me. You know what I mean? Talk to a little bit about, like, I know on the surface it's great. You're rushing for 2,000 yards in 8 games. You're getting 81 scholarship, things like that. What was really in, like, you went under the hood, what was really driving you looking back at it now?
Like I just mentioned, being single home, single mom, that product, I never wanted to let her down. That was really the big thing. My mother never really went to it. She only seen me play a few times, but she was extremely proud when she opened the paper. So for me, that was more important than anything else, just to make sure that she understood that I was really trying to bust my hump and getting this done. I seen a lot of guys that came before us, and I was like, man, and it was a struggle because going to Brockton High, knowing that it's your turn right now, but you had these horses that were right there before you. You're like, man, I was unsure. I was unsure, so I wanted to fight as hard as I could. So again, like my sophomore year, I thought I wanted to play. It's like, you're not putting me on the Burger squad. It's not gonna happen. I did everything I could. If I had to hit Rudy in his kneecap, I was hitting Rudy in his kneecap. I mean, it got to the point so bad where we had a full-blown football game in the middle of the season between the JV and the varsity. Our varsity team is number 1 in the country right now. But our JV team with me, Jay Bursey, Alan's older brother, Chris Campbell, Adam Williams, Jeff Kogel, we were some angry young men, you know? And we always thought, exactly, and that was really the big thing. It was like, you know something? Rudy and Darnell, yeah, cool, man, but the hell with y'all. You're going to have to prove to me. And that was really one of the big things. Like when I came back and got a chance to watch him play, I never heard him say a word. Never, because I seen him play as a sophomore. I was like, this kid is out of control. But then when I got to come back and watch him as a senior, how he mentally grew. You know what I mean? Now this kid's leading this team right now. You know, and that for me personally, that's the stuff that drives me, being able to know that you can have an effect on a younger generation. Just like those guys had an effect on me. Sherrod Range came down to one of our practices and said he was going to be around for our next game. He gave me a pair of his cleats when he was at Penn State. He was like, if you wear these things right here, he goes, you're going to be super fast. Bro, I took my cleats and threw them in the trash and put them on. First play of the game against the Mount, I went 80 yards for a touchdown. And I was like, I came to the sideline, and it was like, for me, it was like, damn, that's a big bro right there. He looked down at the shoes. He goes, you know, it got nothing to do with them damn shoes. You know what I mean? But like for me, like I always wanted just to do better, just to achieve. And again, I didn't want to make mom frown, boy, because you know she put the paws on you for doing the littlest thing. So
yeah, absolutely. Pete, what about you, man? You know, I just remember us playing together. And it was a weird dynamic as far as relationship-wise between me and you because we played football, but then outside it was kind of like you went left, I went right. Mm-hmm. And then, but when we seen each other, it was always love and respect.
Always.
And, you know, I remember one time vividly, it was probably going into your senior year, and I already knew, you know, you was one of the best in the country because I'm reading these magazines, I'm memorizing all the plays. I know about Jamal Lewis, I know about Omar Easy. You know what I mean? And
Omar Easy.
I remember, yeah, you can piece that.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Omar. But like, I remember, I knew there was something more than just sports with you, but I didn't have the life experience. But you was at the fair, and you was deep, you know, with your people. And I remember, you know, there was potentially going to be an altercation or there's a confrontation, stuff like that. And then that's when I was like, yo, do he know? Like who he is, like at that moment, because I'm like, why would he put himself in that situation, given that he could lose so much? So looking back at the wise man that you are today, can you kind of talk a little bit about what was in your mindset back then? Because it appeared to me, and I could be wrong, where it was like you knew you had something special, you knew you was a dog, but at the same time, it could have easily went away.
To be honest, thinking back at everything, like, I just didn't care. Mm-hmm. My home situation was so crazy that, like, well, most people find their happiness in sports. Like, that's where they, like, I go there, I'm in my happy place. Like, me, I was in my happy place, not in sports. Like, that was just something I knew I can do. Like, Because, I mean, like, I stayed out all night and ran for 400 yards. Like, I can play ball, Like I can play whatever sport. I'm an athlete, I can play whatever. But like, I don't want to go home. You know what I'm saying? So like, I never wanted to go home. And me and my mother is tight. It's just my stepfather's situation, it was rough. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't want to go home. So I didn't care about sports. So that was the last thing on my mind. Like, thinking back now, I don't live with regrets. I don't have regrets because I feel like everything that I done molded me to be who I am. So I don't live with regrets. But if I can go back and tell younger me, learn this craft, man. You could be something crazy. Learn this craft. And even though like I got the opportunity to go to the next level and all that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could have done it a different way. You feel me? But like, I just didn't care. So like, my friends was the only thing I cared about because that's the only thing that helped me through every rough time I had. So like, now I'm in the middle, entrenched in people, get into a brawl, and then like, I see you at the fair, I say what up to you, like everything's love, we're laughing, this, that, and other, and I just turn. The switch of it, like, it's going down over here, I just turn like, all right, man, like I'll go back to where I'm going. And like, back then I didn't think of it like that. You know what I'm saying? Back then I just thought of it like I was doing what I was supposed to do, like, cause these people are the people that are taking care of me. These people, this is my family. These are the people that are gonna always look out for me. And then you look back at it and it's like, no, like 75% of them people are just using you because they think you're gonna go to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And then like when all the old heads tell you those people are gonna be in the same corner in 10 years when you come back after school. And you're like, nah, they're gonna do something with themselves. And you come back and they're sitting there literally on the same chair you left them in. And it's like, man, I almost like wasted my whole life for these people that don't even care about themselves. How can they care about me?
Man, I we've never spoke about it, but like you keep saying like your home life, you know what I mean, wasn't good. My home life wasn't good at all as well, and it's crazy in an eerie way. Like you say, you talked about your stepfather. My stepfather was very physically abusive, and it was like, you know, it kind of messed up my confidence and self-esteem as far as like a man, you know what I mean? Because I'm entrusting myself to him to nurture me, guide me, and, you know, now I know he was doing the best he can, he just wasn't capable of doing it, but it's like the saddest and happiest day of my life was when I could beat him up. You know what I'm saying? Because then I felt empowered. It was like, I remember beating him up one day, and he was like, oh, go do the dishes. I'm like, nah, you go do the dishes. You know what I'm saying? And it was sad because I'm like, all right, that's great. I conquered that monster, that mountain or whatever, but then who's going to take me to the next level? You know what I mean? Can you talk about a moment where, you know, your manhood kind of was on the line and you felt that you was being weak, but then now you look back at it, you're actually being strong? Either one of you guys could go.
I mean, there's plenty of opportunities for that. Yeah. My thing is just that my stepfather it was a bad situation at home. So like, we fought when I was in 7th grade, and I ended up getting him. But, you know, he's still in the house the whole 9. And then I remember, I remember my son was born and came to my house and was living at my house with my son's mom. And he just kept calling me a dumb N-word because I had the potential to go where I was gonna go. And it's my senior year, like football's over at this point. So like now it's just like, so now I'm just trying to like, you know, get my grades together and just get up out of here. So like, he just kept saying it. And like at the same time, I'm still in the street. I'm not a school kid. Like I'm still like trying to stay away from home. It's just that happened that I have a new kid. Like I'm trying to remap that's why my senior year was my best year in high school, because I was trying to redo my whole life to take care of my son. Like, so that whole life, I'm trying to be a whole new person. And I don't know how to be a dad because I never had one. I had my mom that was both. That's why.
Your mom's a G, by the way.
Yeah. this day, I still give her Mother's Day and Father's Day gifts. Like I've given her since I was a little kid. You know what I'm saying? So like, and he keeps calling me the dumb N-word. And back then I had like, my baby mom was there. She knows me. And I went to the room and I changed into all black. And she looked at me and saw me and knew what the next move was going to be. So she grabbed me and brought me in my room and said, no. And I was like, yo, I'm fine. I'm just going out. She's like, no, I know you. Please, just look at your son. And I swear to you not, I looked in the bassinet and he just happened to look at me and smile. And that right there changed my whole life. Like I stopped doing everything I was doing before that I thought was the right thing, hanging out with those people that I thought was the right people, like everything I did before that day, I stopped doing. I went to my teachers, got extra help with my work, like what am I missing? Because I was missing so much stuff. All the teachers worked with me and like I ended up leaving high school with an A, like high school, like, you know what I'm saying, like senior year, everything was an A. And like, I changed my whole life, ended up going to school because of that moment. If it wasn't for that moment, like that's what changed me.
Everybody was rooting for you, man. I know I was rooting for you hard, man.
Me too.
Yeah, man. And it's like,
Me too.
you know, I know at the time you was close with like Carrie Hilbert, and like when I remember when he caught that murder charge, I was affected by it. To even keep it even 100, you know, besides me and my brother, every male in my family went to jail. I ain't never visited him. You know what I'm saying? I actually went to visit Carrie, and I'm glad I did. I'm very glad I did, because I remember him crying, and he was just like, "Yo, man, you the best." And I always looked at him like he was the best. You know what I mean? Because he was nice. He had the Jamal Crawford game, and you know, I always was like, I wanted to talk to you, but I didn't know how to. And I knew that our lifestyle was so different, but at the same time too, like I was dealing with so much in my own house, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to just make it to the next day that I didn't. But man, you know, I'm proud that you worked through that, man. And like, shit, man.
Because easily that was back then, that was my man. Yeah. That could be me. Like if I was in prep school when that happened. Yeah. I came home and that happened and everybody called my phone and I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, and then he called my phone and I was like, I just happened to be in prep school. If it wasn't for me going to prep school, I'd be there. Right. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, it just happened that my son changed my whole dynamic and I was like, all right, let me just do something else. Let me like be better for him. Like, if I didn't have him, and he was premature. He came out at 7 months. So if it wasn't like my mom's begged for a miracle, because like my junior year I almost dropped out of school. Like that, like it was a rough situation. And one of my friends that I was that close with went to jail for a murder. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your mother is a prayer warrior, man.
Oh my God.
When we're at LA Fitness, man, we always have some beautiful, lush conversations.
Tells me every time she comes home.
Yeah, I love your mother, man. But Anthony, you talked a lot about your mother, single mother, similar to Peter. You said you give her Father's Day card and Mother's Day card. And I know you have, you know, sons you play football with. Just talk a little bit about fatherhood and just being a son. I'm not sure what your father's situation was coming up, but can you just share a little light about that? And then how you as a father, how did that shape you as far as how you father your son today?
Me as a man, as a father now, completely is the result of how I grew up with my mother. I come from a boxing family. My father is Anthony Witherspoon. Okay. Was champion of the world. My uncle Tim was the heavyweight champ of the world.
You got the cheat code.
I do. I definitely have some cheat codes on that side. My dad's side of the family, they were all professional fighters. On my mom's side, we all play football. My mother's brother played for the Eagles. You know what I mean? So the genetics was there. Yeah. It's just the fatherhood part he decided to forget about. But mind you, what makes it now here we are today, I got 4 kids and 2 granddaughters. You know, my sons, actually my daughter played football too in Pop Warner. And she was a beast. But my mother was not. My mother didn't play, man. You know, once I got my last whooping in the 7th grade, I skipped school because I took a magnifying glass from science class. But I stuck it in my shirt and I was playing around with it, and the bell rung and I just happened to leave. And it wasn't like I meant to do it. I was like, oh, I'll just put it back. But one of the little kids saw me and ratted me out before I had a chance to put it back. So I was so scared because I never got in trouble. So I was like, do I go home? So I go home, they sent the letter home, I hid it, I ripped it up, they called, skipped school, police found me, and was like, you know your mother's looking for you. Hey, man.
Ooh. Oh, that's the worst.
I'm
you ain't even worry about the police. She's what? For me?
This changed my entire young life. I'm in the back of the police car. We get to the bottom of the hill on you remember what I don't know what's called now, but it was the Winthrop School, where the clock is in the middle of the road on East Main Street. Get to the bottom of the hill. He sees my mother, hits the horn. She gets out, open up the back door. She Mike Tyson me in the back seat of the cop car, and I'm like, help, trying to get the cop to help me. He goes, pfft.
He's all set. You're all set.
I was like, can you take me with you? He's like, nah, you going with her. So we get back to the house, I get in the room, and then we talked about what happened, and she goes, boy, a magnifying glass? I was like, Ma, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And she was like, man, go in your room. It was so simple. But that whooping I took right there, I was like, you know something? I never want to experience that again. Right. And the hurt that I saw her in her eyes, if you're going to have a parent knuckle you up, and it ain't your dad knuckling you up, it's your mom. So I was like, that's it, man. So from that day on, when I tell you I never missed school, I made sure I did everything right because I knew I was going to get knuckled up. Yeah. And I was good. You know what I mean? I was like 88-0.
You're from Philly.
I still fight. I got to fight next month.
Yeah, I was about to say you from Philly now. It's funny because I just came back from Philly this past week, went to the Rocky Balboa statue and everything like that. And then I was like, yo, Anthony is still fighting today. You about what, 43, 44?
46.
46, okay.
Yeah.
That black on crack is real.
You know what? Yeah, man. You know what it is, though, guy. It's funny because my mother yells at me. She goes, boy, what are you doing? Yeah. I was like, Mom. And one of my old teammates said to me one day, he goes, how old are you right now? I think I was about 33. And everyone's talking about retiring. And I was just getting back into playing arena football. Yeah. He was like, can you get up every day and run? I said, yeah. He goes, what the hell you want to retire for then? He goes, because somebody else that's over 40 decided that that's the age limit you should stop. He goes, when I die, that's when I'll stop doing whatever it is I'm doing. He goes, you're not hurting yourself. He goes, you're in the gym every day. He goes, you train. He goes, most kids that are, most men that are your age don't train like you do anymore.
Man, that's so I can't stand that too. It's like, because you're 35, 30, I'm 39, I still got a 42-inch vertical. I can still run. I can still do everything I can do, really.
See? Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big David Goggin guy. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Be uncommon amongst uncommon.
Yeah, be hard. That's my guy right there.
My goal now is, I want to run 100 miles in a week. You know what I mean?
No.
That's me. I'm gonna get there. One of these weeks, I'm gonna do 20 miles a day for 5 days.
Yeah, those
drive 100 miles.
Those memes that be on, the one meme that sticks out to me all the time, who put those situations into facts? Why do you have to be married by 23?
Right. Yeah.
Why do you have to be this by 30? Why do you have to be this by 40? Mr. T, he didn't get his break till he was 40-something. He was like, I don't have any friends. Because back then, when I was broke and I was the weirdo with the mohawk, nobody was my friend then. So they're not going to be my friend now when I made it. And he got his break late. You don't have to have, there's no, you're still trying to figure out what your break is. You don't know what your thing is. You don't know what your thing is, man.
It isn't 100 miles a week, though, when it comes
to... It's definitely not that. I'm not doing that.
I mean, that's just something I want to do.
I'm not doing that.
I want to do. But, I just, we already, we're just different. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like what he was saying, just like the worst thing we could do is become civilized human beings, right? You still love to work out, you still love to train, you know what I mean? I know you're still active.
Doing it.
Yeah, I know
absolutely.
you're still very active, and so it's like, why not go until you can't go no more? Like, unlike you guys, I don't have no kids yet. I really want some. I'm gonna get some soon, I'm sure. But I still dream about, my son and daughter see me dunk. So sometimes that just keeps me going to make sure, like, you know what I mean?
Check this out. Both my sons play on my football team.
And so I seen that.
You know what I mean?
I thought that was dope. I thought that was dope.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. But real quick, I know we're gonna wrap up shortly, but there's a couple questions I definitely wanted to just get you guys' opinions on. And the first one is, I know Peter recently was inducted into the high school, Brockton High School Hall of Fame. Now, are you already inducted?
2012.
2012 member. What was that like to get that letter that you're gonna be inducted?
It was like it's an honor, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely an honor. But like as a competitor, as an athlete, like I feel like it's late. You know what I'm saying? Like,
don't get me started.
no, I feel like it's late, and like and some of the people that I saw in before me is like I have questions on, so it's like I'm questioning why you're in there, and I'm still watching you get in there.
Absolutely.
So like, but like at the end of the day, at the basis of it all, don't matter about nobody else. I'm in there. You know what I mean? So. Bottom line, and my mom,
Get that card.
and my mom was going crazy. She's been going crazy since, like, I'm not gonna say the person's name that went in there, but a couple years back, someone went in there and I told her, and she was like, "No, we're not doing this." Right. And she went to a faculty member and was like, "How is this person in and this person is not?"
Don't get me started.
You know what I mean? And like. But it's still an honor. Like, I'm in the Hall of Fame. Like, when I saw the letter in my head, I'm like, I don't want to get amped or whatever, because they mailed it to my job. So I'm like, I'm not gonna go crazy, whatever. Like, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, yeah, give me my letter, man.
I remember about like 4 or 5 years ago, I came back from Maryland. I just started working out. I was like 280 at that time. But this guy Sheldon Gentles comes in. Sheldon Gentles comes in LA Fitness. I ain't see Sheldon on the mat, right? Mm-hmm. Long story short, he says, "Hey, yo, guess what? I'm gonna say the name, who cares? Sterling Marshall was inducted to the Brockton High Basketball Hall of Fame." I'm like, he's like, "What do you think about that?" I'm like, "Yo, good for him." I said, it immediately questions what's the criteria getting in it. Because how in the hell can you get inducted into the Basketball High School Hall of Fame when my last memory, you missed 25 bunnies when Doug Elson Taunton knocked you out of the playoff the senior year. And I just don't want to get started on it, but it just, in short, it made me say, what is the criteria? Can we have some transparency about the criteria? Because this player does not warrant that type of that type of recognition at all.
I asked that question when a certain somebody got in before me. I asked the same question. Okay. And what the answer was to me is, a lot of people did a petition. There's a petition you can go and write down how many. You can go right now, grab the petition and go to Mad People and have like 100 people sign it, give it back to them, and like boom, you're in the Hall of Fame. That's not good. I didn't do that.
It's a campaign.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the Hall of Fame should be not for the most popular, like, because most of them teachers in there, I was a terrible kid. I get that. Most of the teachers don't like me like that. But like, my stats say it all. Like, get me in here. You feel me? Like, get me in here. Like,
what's bigger than any petition, campaign, anything else, is simply and plain this. Does your peers, did you earn the respect of your peers?
Yeah, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember on your post, your Facebook page, like a month and a half ago, you started the conversation, who the top 5, top 3 best running backs in Brockton history, and I felt honored that, you know what I mean, you was like, yeah, you one of the best receivers that ever played. You and Greg Merchie. You know
I said,
what I
but
mean?
this is about the running backs.
Yeah, about the running backs.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But just for you, because we don't even really know each other like that. But just as far as in the
I know you.
right.
Yeah.
No. Meaning like, you know what I mean? Like
On her
just
Facebook.
Off the
like
field.
What was I at?
Nah, listen.
yeah, but it meant the world to know one of my elder statement that, you know what I mean, is
Respect it.
I
one
had-
of the kings and respect that.
I had you, Peter Marciano, Greg, Noel Gordine was an absolute monster. That's man.
It's special.
He was. Again, they didn't throw the ball. You know what I mean? He just, that boy was special. He could have honestly did some things, but you know he's an R&B king now. You know what I mean? But when you just go back, man, like I said, when I started that whole thing, I was bored that day. You know, and I like that conversation because I like when people talk about Peter, and I love when they talk about Jay McGee and Rudy and Greg and Odell.
But that's the thing that should be going on. Like, the people that select should be the people that's in that deserve to be in.
I was
like,
getting to that.
Him, like,
Before I went
Odell's in there, like, all the people that, like, was in there.
But when I saw the who was in prior to me getting in, I went, how? Nobody liked me. I started feeling bad about myself. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't cause no problems. I never got in fights. You know what I mean?
They're like,
I'm not in the Hall of Fame. I'm not in Brockton Hall of Fame. But for me, what gave me
What?
Closure, no, I'm not. What gave me closure and peace of mind.
you know what? That's not shocking. I literally just got my letter.
No, but that's
We've been done since '97. Like, you should be in there a long time ago.
Mr. Colombo told me simply plenty. He's like, yo, you're one of the best to ever do it. Once he said that, it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't care.
Yeah, me too. Like, he said the same. I had him as one of my references when I first tried to get a job, when I was trying to figure out what's going on. After, like, the NFL called and I tore my Achilles, and I was like, damn. Yeah. You know what I mean? They was like, well, you got to do something to let us know that you can still play. Yeah. I had to get a job. You know what I mean? They called Mr. Colombo, and then, like, the lady that became my boss was like, yo, whoever that was that you gave me the reference started crying on the phone talking about you. I was like,
he give it up to you.
I was like, but he was our father figure, man. Like, we had no choice, man.
I gotta get this.
He saved my life.
I gotta get this too. Why do you think it's so hard for other people to give it up to you? Like, cause you a beast, you a king, you a dog. We all three of us were dogs. Why is it so hard for our contemporaries or people who were?
Do you want my opinion?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you my opinion. People are built different. Me, I'm a humble individual. So when I got an opportunity to tell stories about him, I was happy to tell stories about him. It wasn't F Peter, I was better than Peter. No, it was like Peter did his thing. I was like, yo, I got an opportunity to watch a joystick, you know what I mean? Play this game that I love, wearing that uniform that I love. And a lot of people who don't wear that uniform, and I will say that, don't understand what it's like. Don't understand what it's like to have AC on the sideline yell at you, what the hell? Are you kidding me?
Or fumble and have to look at his face. That's the first face you see. Through a sea of people, the first face you see is him in that red jacket. And I'm like, ah.
He used to call me Coach Comer. He said, Anthony, I know you're gonna be a coach someday, but not today. I run this team. You know, and he used to always get on me because I was always challenging him. And I don't know where it came from, bro, but it was just everything in me. If I didn't like something, or if I felt something wasn't right, I challenged him. You know, and then it got to the point where he turned red, and then he, did the fold of the arms, and then he did the stomp up the sideline. That's when I knew to leave him alone.
Yeah, you have.
I was like, all right, now I'm good.
Wow, man.
I got what I wanted from him, but now I'm good. But that man, I wanted to please that man more than anything in the world.
Saved my life, man.
Whenever you want,
man.
I'll never forget this. When we lost at DeMatha, I got banged, my ribs are hurt. The next week we played against BC High. In the first quarter, I had like 8 carries for -3 yards. By halftime, we were losing 7-0. We're in the locker room. I'm sitting there just like this. And you know how Columbus, I mean, he's just doing his thing. And then all of a sudden he turns and he looks right me up face. And I'm just like, I'm hiding. You know what I mean? I'm a senior captain. I'm supposed to be sitting up front, setting example. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was in the back and I was hiding. He goes, "Where's Anthony?" I was like, "Sir," and I just, poked my head up. He goes, "I love you." And I was like, "What?"
He gives it up, man.
I was like, "What?"
That's
all the way
up.
up.
Yeah, man.
I was like, "Am I about to cry right now?" Because this man just told me he loves me.
You're about to run through a brick
And he
wall
said to
right
me,
now.
he goes, sometimes I just got to tell you, he goes, "I friggin' love you." And that was it. There was no more bruh. Came out at halftime, I had 180 and 3 carries. And then I got to the sideline, I'll never forget, I took off my back in the day, we had made up pads. They put the foam pad on you with some duct tape. Hey, I took it off. I'm sitting there, Chris Campbell looked at me, he was like, "Boy, you all right?" And I was like, and I had tears in my eyes. I was like, "I need more. I need more." And I was like, "I got to go play D." He wasn't letting me play. I went to defense, coming down from my safety spot, trying to end everyone's life who touched the football. But again, that was AC though. You know what I mean? It's like he would rip you, make you feel like you're an ant when you're really 30 feet taller than he is. But then he would turn around and be that figure that go, "Man, I love this man." And that's how it was, man. For all of us though, you know?
I just feel it's hard for people to give it up because people are afraid to get their shine taken away. It's like they feel if I'm talking about him, I'm diminishing my shine. Like, no, like I just love how he played the game and what he stood for the game. You know what I'm saying? If I talk about you being great, it's like, all right, so I'm diminishing my shine again. Like, oh, so you wasn't that good. Like, why? Why can't I be great and he be great and me talk about his greatness? Like, it has nothing to do with that, but a lot of people don't see it that way, and that's the problem.
The last person that asked me was talking about you, and he was like, "How do you feel?" I said, "The only difference between me and Peter that I had to see a chance to watch him in person is the fact that I was a little bit faster than Peter." I said, "Other than that, you can't say this guy. Oh, Coleman was the best ever." Nah, bro. Did you watch this kid play? I watched him play. You know what I mean? I watched him play. But I also got the opportunity to watch Jay McGee play though. Jay McGee was, when I first moved to Brockton, he was the man. I was like, who is this little 5'6", 200-pound monster who was out there looking like Dave Meggett on super steroids? You know what I mean?
But you love the game, though. That's the difference. You love the game. So, like, you love the game in its purest form. So, like, if you see someone that's nice, you just gonna be like, "Yo, he's nice. Let me watch him." Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yo, so we're gonna wrap this up shortly, but I know, when you win a lot, you lose the ability to lose, right? And both you guys successfully, along with myself, made the transition from just being an athlete and transitioning to the real world and things of that nature. Can you kind of just, within maybe a minute or two, just detail what was that journey like, re-entering and ingratiating yourself back into really a population or demographic that in the beginning of life you worked to kind of separate it to be part of the 1, 2, 3% who played professionally. Right now you're amongst them. What was that like? Just kind of integrating yourself back into society.
For me, it was easy. I became a father young. I got married young. Got divorced young. So my biggest thing was making sure that my kids were always had more than I had. Even though my kids seen a lot. They got an opportunity to watch me play football because I'm 20 years old with 2 kids.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean? So my kids are young. Got a chance, opportunity to watch me play, but integrating back into the real world, like I said, I was always in the real world. I was always working. Even when I was playing ball, I still had a job. You know what I mean? So for me, it was always into the fitness industry. I did the sales and marketing for years, and now I decided to branch out on my own. Start my own personal training company. Now.
What's the name of it? What's the name of your company?
It's called ABM Training.
ABM Training.
And now with the personal training, I got back into the football aspect of, in the semi-pro ranks. I have a football team in Fall River right now. This will be our second year, the Troy City Titans, and it's just, for me, now I get to really, really give back, you know, even though it's on just that level. But I have so many kids that are young that I got future stars like this kid was. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure that even if that's the highest level they're going to get, making sure they have the greatest time doing it. You know, so really for me, man, it's just about being a dad, being the best dad I can be to my kids, you know, and being the best coach I can be to my kids. You know?
So quickly for you, you know, P, you and I talk about this already a lot. I'm about to be 40, no kids. You have 2 kids at 20. What's life like as a father and a 40?
It's called being a grandfather now. Yeah. It's you know, for me it's different because now I'm completely out of being an athletic. I'm not athletic anymore. Right. You know, now my sons are the ones that take over. My oldest son is 24 now, captain of my team. You know, he's running that. My other son is 17. He's a junior in high school who is an absolute dog, which he is.
He has no choice.
Yeah,
Dad was a dog.
He's a dog.
No choice.
Cheat code.
Yeah.
I can honestly say though, you know, if he wasn't my son, you know, if he was, you know, Peter Harris says I got a chance to sit in the stands and watch and admire, I'd be like, damn, whose kid is this? Somebody need to get a hold of him right now and make sure that he's on that path. So where my father failed me, I won't fail my kids. And it's honestly, it's just that simple. You know.
Peter, you are.
You're a nurse. The transition it was hard. It was harder than I thought because at first I didn't care about the sport, and then all of a sudden now it's like, okay, like I can do something with it. Got the call for the Patriots practice squad, tore my Achilles. Now it's like I'm at home, depressed, like I got the dream but didn't get the dream. So now it's like, what's next? So like as I'm healing, I'm just getting more and more depressed, and it's like I don't know what's next. Like I don't know what my next move is. And then I had some aunts that are nurses. I have some uncles that are doctors and all that. And my aunts were just in my ear like, be a nurse, be a nurse, be a nurse. And I was just like, you know what? I'll try it, see what's going on. And once I got involved in it, like I loved it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I still have, because as an athlete, you still want that rush. Like, you want to find that rush. Like, what makes you be like, oh, she's like, I'm doing something. You know what I mean? Like, he's coaching. Like, in his mind, he's like, I'm coaching, but I'm still intense in there. You know what I mean? It's still competitive. I'm trying to beat that coach. I'm trying to make the perfect play. I'm trying to do that. Like, you right now, media, you're trying to ingratiate yourself in the media circuit. You're trying to do your thing. Like, you love what you're doing. Like, I get in there, I'm in the emergency room, and like, to watch the transition of saving someone that's like damn near gone, and you save that person, and the family comes in, and then when they go to the next floor they're gonna go to, and they look at you and be like, thank you so much for taking care of my mother or my father, and you're just looking like, word, like, yo, I just saved that person. You feel me? Like, and it's like you don't get it until you see it, and it's like, oh. And then like, and every time it happens, like you get that rush that you need. Like, I feel like the easiest way to transition from being an athlete is finding something that gets your adrenaline rushing, like when you was an athlete. That's the only way.
Let me ask you a question right now. I want you to think about something really, really, really hard. Did you imagine 20 years ago this guy would be a nurse?
When they told me he was a nurse, I said, no, Peter Harris.
Listen, this isn't the first I'm hearing of this. This is the first I'm hearing of this. What?
Yeah. No, that's what I did. That was my reaction. I said, no, Peter Harris.
Listen.
Yeah, man.
Listen.
I just saw JP too. He just came in and looked at me and said, all right, what up, man? He's like, you working here? I was like, yeah. It's
that is what's up, though.
It's a whole different, like, I still get that rush, like, when someone comes in, it's like a trauma and that blood's everywhere, and you're in there trying to fix something, and it's like, you still get that rush, and like, you have to find your next rush. You know what I mean? Like, football, athletics is a rush, the whole thing. Like, when nobody misses practice. You miss your guys, but nobody misses practice. You miss that game, though. You miss that game. When you in that game, it's like, ooh, once you make a move, you make a touchdown, it's like your endorphins run, you're going crazy, like, yeah, I did that. So now it's like you got to find that rush. And some people, the way I look at it, some people don't have a happier life and they keep talking about their past because they don't transition to the new.
Got nothing to look forward
to. They have nothing else to do. They're just like, oh, I remember I ran for 4 touchdowns. Okay, what are you doing right now, though?
Yeah, do you guys find when people Google you or whatever, like on the job, or they find out about you, meet somebody, I don't feel like I'm supposed to inform people, by the way, I play for Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, my God.
I don't care about, like, that happened so long ago, and I'm so in love with what lies ahead that that's more gratifying to talk about.
Because when you talk about it, it feels like you're bragging, like you've been like, hey, by the way.
Or you get the setup.
By the way. Because some girl texted me today, was like, why didn't you tell me you was going to Hall of Fame? I was like, oh, like yeah, they sent me the letter, like I don't. She was like, nah, that's messed up. Like I thought we was cool. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, all right, so I'm not the only one.
No.
All right, so.
How about you?
Yeah.
Listen, for me it was a little different because I've had so many things go on in my life, whether it be good or bad. I'm at the point in my life right now where I just don't care. You know what I mean?
I think the
I
best
just
thing
don't care.
I got rid of all timelines.
Yeah,
it's gonna take however long it's gonna take.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna just do the work. Yeah.
But a lot of people can't transition like that.
Yeah, I'm at the, like I said, I hate to say this, but I'm okay, if things ended for me today.
Right.
You know what I mean? I did enough. I'm not gonna say I did enough, but I know that as a man, I did my job. Right. And that's really what it comes down to, But one of the best things about it, when I leave here tonight, I get to tell my guys, hey, I got a chance to sit with Peter and Jamal. Let me tell you more stories about these guys because I've seen these guys since they were little. Now they're grown, doing grown man things, and each little time that you do the show, it's going to reach somebody else. His story is going to reach somebody. Yeah. They're going to reach. Going to be like, man, these guys were, they were quote unquote the best guys that ever come through that school. Well, in my opinion, there's a whole bunch of us that was real good. We just had the opportunity to be able to sit here and tell our story and be humble about it. You know,
another shit that hit me is the fact that, pardon my French, but the fact that like someone you touch their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like you touched my life, like I touched your life, and then like the other day I learned that I touched like James Jackson. Like I was like, damn, I had no idea. James Jackson was like, I wore 34 because. That's dope. And I'm like, and you don't realize when you're living your life, you don't realize you touched somebody's life. And that's something you gotta take, man. You gotta take that into account, man.
It's funny how he said that, because when I left Brockton High, I told Colombo, you need to retire this number 20. Oh, wow. But the next year, Alan Bursey came in, he was 2 years, Bursey was my senior year, Alan was in the 8th grade, I think. He was our water boy. I came home from New York, because I took Jay and Adam to school with me. The coach was like, when he called the first time, I hung up on him. I was like, junior college, don't you know who you're talking to right now? What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
So then, you know what I mean?
Right.
But then when he called back, I said, listen, if you're serious about me coming to your school, I said, I'll come to your school. I said, but I got 2 high school All-Americans. They're not all state. I said, I have 2 other high school All-Americans that don't have a school to go to because of the grade situation. This was a Monday. I had a Pell Grant by that Friday with a New York address, and Jay and Adam got applications to get into school.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
That's what happened.
Yeah, they touch somebody's life, man.
Anthony Ferguson Lewis got a free first class trip to the University of Utah because I said I didn't want to go out there alone. So we had a good time on there. All right, closing. We got like a minute left. Top 3. Your top 3 running backs in Brockton. And also, who was 1 or 2 running backs while you was ascending on your journey that you kind of modeled your game after?
Oof, see, I knew this question was coming, but I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna keep my story straight. You had the two Harris guys and me. That was my opinion. And like I said, when I was coming up, I didn't care about the running backs. I was more excited about watching Peter Marciano. I like the receiver position because they got a chance to run back punts and kickoffs, and I just didn't want to be just that running back. You know, when I came in, I was like, I wanted to do a little bit of everything, but I had that chance to watch these guys, and Jay McGee was my all-time favorite high school running back in the history of the face of this earth. He was just an individual that he had nobody else with him. You know, when Donald started acting a fool, he took full advantage of it and never turned around. Jay had nobody else in the backfield with him. So when it was 20 degrees outside, Colombo turned to hand him the ball 45 times a game. You know, he was picking up 3 yards at a time, but he was just a workhorse at 5'6". You know what I mean? So that was my first experience when I moved to Brockton. And I was like, that's who I want to be like, that guy right there. You know, if I can carry the ball 40 times a game, and even if I only got 4 yards of carry, he's getting up and he's killing cats. Well, I only averaged like 10, you know, carries a game because I had some horses with me. You know what I mean? I had the fastest guy ever in the history of Brockton High right beside me. And I thought I was fast. You know what I mean? But that's the two Harrises, you know, I had opportunity, like I said. Rudy was a monster. He did things that people his size shouldn't have done. And he was angry. Every time he touched the football, he was angry. Watching him, he never smiled. I never watched this kid smile. It was
That's what always made me nervous about him.
He never smiled. And listen, when I had people calling me.
That Pittsburgh game you grabbed me and said, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah. He never smiled, man. But those two, like I said, the only difference is, you know, Rudy was 6'2", 225 pounds. Rudy was like a 4'6", 40 guy, but Rudy was a smart running back, though. Rudy was a 180-pound running back and a 225-pound body. And that's, you know, like I said, I had an opportunity to watch that every single day and try to tackle that, which was tough.
Okay. What about you? Top three.
Me, Odell, and him.
Okay.
Me, Odell, and Coleman, man. That's like
Odell was a dog.
Odell was a grown. Like, I saw a picture. Like, they have a high school picture of him and like 2 other people that was on the team.
Sherrod Range, him.
They was running
Sherrod
track,
Range.
and they had no shirts on. They had shorts on. They was running on track. It was on Brockton High. It was on Enterprise newspaper, and his mom has the clip at the crib. And I saw it, and Odell was out there looking like a grown man.
His legs.
Oh, that's a man, dude.
He gave me a jewel. I remember I got hurt at BC during the spring game. I got a turf toe or something like that. He was like,
That's what ended my career.
Them things hurt. Them things are legit. And I remember Paul Pierce. I was on crutches. We was at the black fashion show at BC. And I'm getting out the car. He came out his Escalade or whatever. He just came from got his rookie year at the Celtics. So I'm like, yo, can you help me? He's like, nah, I ain't helping you.
Yeah, I can see you saying it, though.
Yeah, he meant it, you know what I mean? I was like, damn, you know. But anyway, Darnell Campbell was like, you're gonna have to learn how to play through injury. Man. That was like the next lesson. Because a lot of times we all can play, but can you play through injury? Can you play through
the nicks?
You got stuff going on outside of football or basketball, whatever your respective sport is. Can you still lock in? You know what I'm saying? But
that's the difference.
Yeah, man, that makes all the difference. All right, so this has been pure joy, man. I want to thank both of you guys. I got my last closing Brockton story I want to get off my chest. So that is at the top of my mind, especially since you're here at PH too. So it's like, all right. So here's a funny story. It's about Noli Foster. Noli Foster is a Brockton High guy, and I remember my 8th grade. I was summer. I was about to go. No, sorry. This is the 6th grade summer. Enter into junior high school, where I was going to go to North Junior High. So when I was on the west side at Asheview Park, with my boys Axel and Reggie, my Dominican boys. Shout out to you guys. So anyway, we playing basketball 3-on-3. And Nodi's there. Nodi's short. Nodi's probably like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", something like that at the time. And probably like maybe 120 pounds. Super, super small dude. But anyway, I'm killing him. Oh, I'm killing him, right? So he fouls me hard when I'm driving to the basket one time. And my boy Reggie was like, yo, that was kind of rough. You should get him. So I'm like, nah, it's just about ball. I'm just going to kill him. I ain't going to take it personal. It's just about ball. Thank God I had that mentality because I go to North Junior High. The first day at school, I see Nodi. But Nodi's he's like the man. You know what I mean? He got like 15 dudes around him. Every time somebody come in, you know what I'm saying? Show him respect. I'm just like, wow. And then he gave me $100. He said, hey, yo, come here, little man. Talking to me, even though I'm bigger than him, you know what I mean? And he gave me $100 bill. He was like, yo, go get me a Hawaiian punch and some chips and like get something what you want, but bring back my change. And I just like, we now know who Nodi, was and everything like that, but like one of the greatest decisions I ever made in my Brockton High time had nothing to do with football. Had nothing to do with basketball, had nothing to do with track. It was the fact that I listened to my intuition, and I thank God for my mother giving me integrity, because that I might have had to move from the city of Brockton if I was stupid and foolish enough.
You might have.
to step to know. So I want to say shout out to Noli Foster. Thank you for he taught me how to drive.
My guy.
Yeah, he taught me how to drive a car. I remember taking turns without using the brake. He was like, "You're gonna kill yourself." So he taught me how to turn corners using the brake and everything like that. But man, Brockton is just so many great people that even though it has that stigma, that perception, man.
It was home.
We got guys like us who came out of there, did great things, and
still home.
Yeah, man, it's just about passing on that legacy, man.
That's it. It's home.
Yeah, man. So until next time, this is Bottom Line Burke. That's the bottom line, man. That's just the bottom line.
From that stoop down to Lennox, my mama argued with me for like 200 minutes, drinking brews till I'm finished. To the news, them interviews, they knew my position. I could lie for free, but that truth is expensive. So visit my site, yo, get an insight. What my living was like was bigger than life. Different women spending the night, no children in sight. I got fed up, but kept my head up like I'm willing to bite. My life doing bike tricks, touchdowns for Mike Vick. Stop on a dime and split right soon as your eye twitch. I was quite quick, not many was like this, waxing them like a candle. I guess I was quite lit. I heard they mad, I deserve to brag. I'm in my bottom line Birkin bag, and I ain't trying to waste a whole lot of time with this rhyme. But after this, we getting straight to the bottom line.